But moving on, I have a quick question that I'm not sure. You said you never played any Metal Gear Solid after one, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
So you don't know anything about the changes they made to Twin Snakes, right?
I think I've read a little bit on the
Yeah.
subject. In fact, just before we started doing this, I started trying to poke around a little more to read about that, but I couldn't find.
Well, I mean, a lot of the
I'm
changes.
interested. Yeah.
Well, some changes. One guy pointed out he was on episode 7. He said that they changed a couple lines to match the newer cutscenes. For example, Merle originally said something like "War is not glamorous" or anything like that. Something like that, correct? When she's getting
Mm-hmm.
shot. But you can't have her say that because you have Snake doing all this cool stuff, making war look amazing. He's fighting ninjas. I mean,
Yeah. Right.
and he's
Yeah.
jumping off, rocket launchers.
What did she say in the original?
It, in the original, it was "War is not glamorous." I
War is
just,
ugly. There's nothing glamorous
yeah,
about
yeah,
it.
that's it. And they
Oh, that was
changed
it.
it to
Oh, and
something
they changed it.
else.
War
I
is
see.
Yeah,
meaningless.
you
They
can't
changed
say
it to that. Or...
you can't say "War is ugly" when they're trying to make it look amazing. They're Snake's doing this Matrix stuff. Why you can't say that?
He's doing backflips off of missiles.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like Konami has retranslated two of your games, Metal
Yeah.
Gear Solid and Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Um,
what kind of feelings do you have for this?
well, I'd be lying if I told you it makes me happy that they retranslated work that I worked on. Uh, but I'm not sure I'd put them in the same, you know, category necessarily. First of all, Symphony of the Night. Here's, I guess I should say my part about Symphony of
Oh,
the Night.
I've been waiting for this. Honestly, I love
Okay,
Symphony of the Night and the
great
voice
game.
acting. Yeah, the dialogue. I
Great
love
game.
everything about that game. Trust me.
Symphony of the Night I think represents almost the pinnacle of of 2D side-scrolling gaming. I don't think I can get any better than that.
Yeah.
Graphically, I just love that shit. I eat it up with a spoon. You know,
Hmm.
and I think the translation's fine. I stand by my translation. And
I just stand by
voice
it too.
acting, voice acting. If I could get alone in the same bathroom where they recorded it with the guy for 5 minutes, in the same bathroom that it sounds like they recorded it in, then I'd like to fucking do a number on the guy. But no, actually, I know who's responsible for it, and it ain't me.
Who?
I did the translation on text. Okay.
Hmm.
You want to know his name? You want to know his name?
Yeah.
Want his name? I'll tell you. I'll tell you offline. I mean, I don't know. He was working for Konami at the time, and want
Die,
me to tell you his
monster!
name?
You don't belong in this world. I mean, that line sounds so cool, and I
Look,
think the
but
line
there were
is
a lot of
great.
lines that could have been good, like if they had just taken a moment and said. The problem was you can't put a Japanese dude in charge of directing a fucking English voice
game,
recording
yeah.
session, and his English was very good. He was a Japanese dude who spoke very good English, but it's not good enough. Believe me, you have to, you have to
Yeah.
be a fluent speaker, a person who is a movie fan or who's an actor himself, or is close to actors, or close to being an actor, or hears voices in their head or whatever.
Hmm.
But you gotta have someone who's got some talent for that job, and he couldn't discern if an actor was doing a shitty job, asleep at the wheel or not. So the actors. So I mean, I wrote a line, for example, like, "What do you hear?" You know.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, okay. Admittedly, not 100 people out of 100 aren't going to know that is a perfectly acceptable, um, old archaic way of saying, "What are you doing here?" You know. And if you read it in print, "What do you hear?" Maybe you'd see it, in the old Conan books or something like that. It's kind of a faux medieval kind of
Yeah,
speaking.
because it's a
Okay.
medieval setting with medieval characters.
Yeah.
It's
So
only
what
logical they talk like
it's like saying, "What dost thou hear?" Okay. What do you hear? What dost thou hear? But the point is, if your actor sitting in a bathtub, I don't know what the fuck was wrong with that recording, but didn't it sound bad? The ambient.
that. Yeah, I mean,
It sounded like echoey. I don't know, but anyway, this guy, he didn't say the lines right. Okay, you could have made those. You know, an actor can make any line sound good, and if they can't make it sound good, then it's the director's job to write a new line, or the actor to offer up a new line. But some fucking body's got to stop it. But it's horrible. When I heard that thing, I was as shocked as anybody. What is a man? but a pile of secrets.
Yeah. Have you ever met any of the actors, or
No,
you
I
haven't?
probably have actually. I met most of those guys in Japan at some point, so I probably know who they are. But I never pursued it to find out who did what, or I. I think it's a dude I don't really know actually.
Robert Bellagrade or something like that.
Yeah, I
He.
know I know who that is.
Have you met him in person?
Yeah, yeah, I know him. I
He's
know
kind of
him.
mysterious, you know.
No, I tell you about him.
All right.
He's a freak. He's a real freaky guy.
Really?
He's freaky as hell,
Why is his
and he has a
voice?
really
He sounds
he has a really
black.
freak. He's got a freaky, deep, deep, deep voice. He's primarily a musician, as I recall. I think he's a sax player.
I think
He's a
I
freaky
saw
guy,
like
man.
yeah. I think I did
He's a
some
freaky
research
guy.
on him.
He's like bald and he's got like a little goatee and stuff, and kind of scary looking too, if I recall. He's freaky looking. Super skinny or something. Something freaky about that guy. But uh, he's the kind of guy who's very typical of voice actors in that, like, it's like a job for him, right? So he'll go in there and say, okay, man, whatever you want. I'll give you whatever you want. And that's true. He will.
Yeah.
But it also means, he's like a 6-year-old boy who only do what you tell him to do. Wipe your feet. So he'll wipe his feet as little as possible. You got to say, okay, no, look at your fucking shoes. They're dirty. What? Get that shit out of the cracks. That's the way it is. You got to, with voice actors, you got to, you know, they're, you know,
They need
so especially
directing.
this
Yeah.
guy, he's got other shit going on in his life. He doesn't care about some stupid video game. Some character named Alcard. Okay, so I'm good. He comes in the morning. He reads the script. What's this guy named? Alucard. You know, and yet, of course, fans expect that everyone's going to be as motivated as they are, but they're not. So if you want a good localization, you guys should support translators and support localizers, and you know, because people like me who care about the shit, guess what? We get busted for caring about it. I mean, I would have worked on Metal Gear Solid 2, 3, and 4 if I had kept my stupid mouth shut.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know?
well, you were talking about, uh, I guess we'll just go ahead and call him the
Hey man,
troll or
does this whole
SP.
thing sound like a big fucking rant?
No, it
Does
sounds
this interview sound like a
no,
rant?
it sounds excellent. I mean, it's just kind of like, behind the scenes, everyone
I
in
feel
the
like I'm
press
just
is afraid to touch, the whole
I feel like
matter.
I'm whining about everything.
Nah, but I mean, like, you know, Robert Belgrade, whatever his name is, he's always involved with bad voice acting. Like he did
Yeah,
Winback, and it was
because I
horrible.
don't think he because I don't think he cares. But you got to look at the director and it's the whole process. I mean, that's what I was trying to say before. Is like, how can you have a game? There's so much text in game and so much voice in games now. You can't. It's not fair to expect that this game, where millions of dollars were spent and 2 or 3 years was spent developing it, that the translation is just going to be done in 6 weeks or 8 weeks. It's kind of unreasonable, you know, because as translators or localizers, we probably don't have visuals to look at. We don't know what the fuck's going on. I'm translating a game right now. I've got the lines, but I don't know who's saying what to who. So it's just lines, and I'm supposed to bring some kind of like individual characteristics to the people speaking when I don't even know who's speaking. And why is it that way? Because they got a text dump from a game, and because the game was made by another developer, and no, they don't have time to give me another thing and just get it done, and because hurry up because the team's on vacation and they want to get started when they get back. You know,
Yeah,
so
this wouldn't have me like an Atlas produced game, would it? Atlas or
no, it's not.
I figured it would be. They have some decent translations, but some of it can go off course.
Atlas. I would love to work for Atlas because I really admire the games that they pick up, but
Like
they have
Shin
not.
Megami Tensei or whatever it's called, Nocturne.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, that's the kind of shit I should be translating.
I think you
You
should
know.
have translated Killer 7. I mean, Killer 7 was translated really well, but
Mm.
have you played Killer 7 any?
No, no,
Uh,
no.
okay,
It's good.
well, director of that game and Kojima are working together, I guess. So, I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
I was just a little curious.